I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. Through all trials, tribulations, persecutions, I am determined. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. Through all trials, tribulations, persecutions, I am determined. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. Through all trials, tribulations, persecutions, I am determined. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. Through all trials, tribulations, persecutions, I am determined. I am determined to walk in freedom. Yes, I am. I'm going to walk in freedom. 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 I'm going to walk in freedom.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your neighborhood Unitarian Universalist congregation. My name is Suzanne. I'm the music director here, and pleased to have Voices UUnited joining the Spirit Choir from the Unitarian congregation in Mississauga. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. I have your announcements for the coming week. If you are interested in joining our choir, we rehearse Monday nights from 7 to 9 and sing once a month. We are starting new music both this week and next week. It's a good time to join. If you're interested, come talk to me. Lifespan Learning. So our children's program is seeking volunteers for occasional Sunday mornings. You can talk to Julia, singing with the altos today, for more info. In our art galleries, which line the upper balconies, we have Observing Land's Transformation, which will run until the end of the month. We'll put the lights up upstairs after service if you'd like to go upstairs and check it out. Would you like to be a greeter? You will be needed once or twice a month to be the welcoming face of neighborhood. Please see Luann singing in the soprano section today. The Out of the Cold program that's here on Friday nights is in need of gently loved men's jeans, pants, shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, any size. If you can bring those in, they can be dropped off at the Jackman doors, just in a bag with a tag that says OOTC, Out of the Cold, and they'll end up in the right place. We welcome you to join us for a celebration of life for Sandy Rafos. A memorial service will be held here in Rafos Hall. That's on April 13th at 1 in the afternoon. All are welcome. All about our board. Learning session is happening today after service. Our board of directors is a critical aspect of how we function legally and practically. It makes decisions on our members' behalf. But how much do you know about how it all works? This is a great session for anyone, including members considering running for the board. This will be hosted by our nominating committee with participation from the bylaws committee and our board. That'll be here in the hall, I imagine, after?
It's going to be in the lifespan.
It'll be in the LL room, which has the rainbow on it over
and
there.
it's going to be fantastic, and you should all come.
Thanks, Mara. Coming up, this show is coming down at the end of the month, and coming up for next month is The Spirit of Creativity, including works by Color Blots Creative, Chris Emanuel, Amy Fitzgerald, Peter Marmerick, Geraldine, sorry, I'm having trouble seeing it, Marion, Megan McKnight, Ravinder Ruprai, and Naomi Tyrell. It's quite a big group show. Thank you, Lauren, for organizing. Help build beloved community here. Board nominations are open for the board of directors. Directors and the president will be chosen by you, our membership, at the AGM on April 28th. The nominating committee is looking for a diverse group of candidates who bring a collaborative spirit, a loving interest in our future, as well as a willingness to learn and grow in the role. Prior experience on a board is nice, but not necessary. You can talk to Moira from the committee or email nominating@nuuc.ca. Orientation sessions for potential new members. Getting connected with NUUC is happening April 7th at 12:30. Learn about activities, programs, and teams here, and an overview of how to become a member. Our next joining ritual is on Sunday, April 28th. For more info, you can speak to Christina, who is singing in the soprano section today, or David Zalakar. Did I see David here? Or David, there, thank you. 7th Generation Workshop is coming up on Saturday, April 6th from 2 to 5:30. This workshop has you experiencing yourself as an ancestor, or seeing our times through the eyes of a descendant. This Work That Reconnects public workshop invites us to connect with generations past and future. That's co-facilitated by our tech team, Natalie and Bruce and myself. Space is limited. We need you to register so we know how many folks to expect. And registration is available on our Facebook or directly on the NUUC website. Our services are created by our staff and volunteers, namely Suzanne Mazars, that's me, music director, Julia Thompson, our LL director, Reverend Pat Trudeau, who's not here today, our contract minister. Today, Gordon Thorne is our service weaver, and our tech team today is Natalie Zan and Bruce Line. We thank our greeters, our counters, our LL volunteers, our kitchen fairies, and all those folks are named in the cappuccino room. During our service today, we'll be posing this question to hear from you. Think of a time you have experienced transformation in your life. What helped make change possible for you? Have a think about that. That question will be reappearing a little bit later. And next Sunday, Easter Sunday, March 31st, we will be exploring Resurrections We Have Known. Our speaker will be Reverend Lynn Harrison. Music by Suzanne and Friends. Our service weaver will be Peter Marmarick. And time for all ages with Julia Thompson.
We welcome you to our neighborhood Unitarian Universalist congregation service. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here in person or virtually on Zoom. My name is Gordon Thorne, and I will be your service weaver this morning. We start today's service by creating sacred space. Let's start with electronics. Sacred space is fragile and easily destroyed by ringing and distracting devices, so I ask you to please turn them off now. And then join me in reciting our opening words, which will be projected on the screens. Let us cast the circle of a sacred space here. Let us cast the circle of a cherished space here. A space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life. A life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families. The last act of creating sacred space is to light the symbol of our faith, the chalice. I'd like to welcome Abigail Freeman and the Voices UUnited, the choir of the Unitarian Congregation of Mississauga, who joins our own Spirits choir, as Suzanne said. Abigail, would you like to light our chalice? And now the choirs will sing our prelude, Keep It Alight. This was composed by Reverend Lynn Harrison for the CUC annual meeting during the pandemic, and combined choirs from across the country sang it in a video. That song brings back warm memories for me. As we gather today, this area has been the place of communities coming together for well over 15,000 years. This land has been the territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Mississaugas. The territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Anishinaabe Nation and the Haudenosaunee Nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community. We are also mindful of broken covenants and the need to strive to make right with all our relations, sharing stories and telling the truth of this place. Thank you. Today is a unique service because it is infused with the spirit of 4 Unitarian congregations. You've heard the music of our own Spirit Choir and Voices UUnited, from Mississauga. Today, our guest speaker is the Reverend Victoria Ingram, who comes to us from the First Unitarian Congregation of Toronto, where she is the senior minister for transition, and was the minister of First Unitarian Church of Hamilton for 11 years. So we are blessed. We at Neighborhood and as Unitarians are open to many beliefs and learn from many traditions. We welcome all people to our spiritual community. If you are visiting us in person for the first time, we welcome you and encourage you to stay after service for our coffee time, which is in the room behind you. Take a red mug. It's a signal you're interested in being welcomed and having a conversation. Our services can vary greatly from week to week, so we encourage you to sample several to get a better feel for who we are. Our mission at Neighborhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. Our theme for March is Explore, Mentor, Sage, part of our congregational aspiration to be spiritually grounded. Today's service is entitled Act As If Until You Are, sort of under the umbrella of transitions and transformations. Now, I'm a semi-retired film editor, and the transition into retirement has been a fraught one. Finding meaning in the next stage of life when a job I had that filled when I had a job that filled me with joy and satisfaction, well, that's not easy. What is my purpose in this stage of life? How do I find meaning when I derive so much meaning from my work? A friend shared that it is a process of being open and listening for what the universe makes available to you. That unknown thing that aligns with the song the universe sung for us in creation. Reverend Victoria shared with me this reading from Song of the Universe by Manish K. Mishra Marzetti. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Listen carefully. Can you still hear the song? The one sung for you when you were born? The song sung by the cosmos in motion, rejoicing your life. You, the result. You, the outcome. You, the celebration. Listen carefully. Can you still hear it? A song of possibility. A reminder we still have time to be who we and what we need to be. Listen carefully. The vast expanse echoes a recognition that's not always easy. Possibilities can be hard to pursue. Roads not taken, wrong turns, destinations that disappoint. Through this song persists. The universe sings no less because time and space wear us thin. The music calls us to recognize our limitations, to recognize the song is best sung with others. Here, in community, bringing alive that most primordial and original impulse, the desire to sing to the universe who we are, to celebrate and share our lives with others. Now, let's celebrate and share ourselves with our neighbors. In a moment, turn to your neighbors around you and offer them a greeting. After you have greeted a few neighbors, turn to the camera at the back wall and offer a greeting to those joining us virtually. Suzanne will sound a chime to end. Greet your neighbors. Hello. Hello, John.
Hi, Gordon.
So we're going to start with a hymn that may or may not be familiar to you. So I thought it might be worthwhile to teach you the melody so that we're able to sing it better together. Can I get the slide for the hymn, please? Okay. Could we rise in energy, however that is for you? Thank you. First guy goes, oh, it went. It came and went. There it is. I brought my spirit to the sea. I brought my spirit to the sea. I stood upon the shore. I stood upon the shore. I gazed upon infinity. I gazed upon infinity. I heard the waters roar. I heard the waters roar. Let's try that with some accompaniment. We'll make our way through the verses. I brought my spirit to the sea. I stood upon the shore. I gazed upon infinity. I heard the waters roar. And then there came a sense of peace. Some whisper from my soul. Some ancient ministry of stars that made my spirit whole. I brought my spirit to the trees that bloomed against the sky. I touched each wandering careless breeze to know if God was nigh. And then I felt an inner flame that fiercely burned my tears. A bright eye rose from bended knee to meet the asking years.
Hello. I'm Julia. Welcome to the Time for All Ages. And please join me if you are young at heart, Or, if you don't feel comfortable sitting here, you could sit there or sit wherever you want. I'm fine with that. You decide. I'm going to share a story with you called What Do You Do with a Chance? And it's written by Kobe Yamada, illustrated by May Bessum. And when you take a chance, you're not really sure what could happen. And that makes it kind of scary, right? You hope something good will happen, but there's no guarantees. So, should you take the chance? Should you not take the chance? Let's find out. First slide, thank you. One day I got a chance. It just seemed to show up. It acted like it knew me, as if it wanted something. I didn't know why it was here. What do you do with a chance, I wondered. Next slide. It fluttered around me. It brushed up against me. It circled me as if it wanted me to grab it. I started to reach for it, but I wasn't sure, so I pulled back. And so it flew away. I thought about it a lot. I wished I had taken my chance. I realized that I had wanted it, but I still didn't know if I had the courage. When another chance came around, I wasn't so sure, but I decided to try. I wanted to reach for it, but I missed and I fell. I was so embarrassed. I felt foolish. It seemed as though everybody was looking at me. I decided I never wanted to feel this way again. So after that, whenever a chance came along, I ignored it. And the more I ignored them, the less they came around. Until one day, I realized that I hadn't seen a chance in a long time. It was as if they had all disappeared. I started to worry, what if I don't get another chance? I know I acted like I didn't care, but the truth was I did. I still wanted to take a chance, but I was afraid. And I wasn't sure if I would ever be brave enough. Then I thought, maybe I don't have to be brave all the time. Maybe I just need to be brave for a little while at the right time. I realized it was up to me. Is it okay to be afraid? Is it okay to be afraid? Absolutely. Because you can't be brave unless you're scared. Being brave means doing something even if you're scared. I try to remind myself of that. I promised myself that if I ever got another chance, I wasn't going to hold back. If I got another chance, I was going to be ready. Then, one seemingly ordinary day, I saw something shining far off in the distance. Is it possible? I hoped. Could this be my chance? I had to find out. I ran as fast as I could towards it. I didn't know how to explain it, but the second I let go of my fears, I was full of excitement. It wasn't that I was no longer afraid, but my excitement was bigger than my fear. As it got closer, I could see that this was really a huge chance. But this time I was ready. As it came by, I reached out and grabbed it. I grabbed it And I held on. I held on as hard as I could. It felt so good to soar, to fly, to be free. I now see that when I hold back, I miss out. And I don't want to miss out. There's just so much I want to do and see and discover. So what do you do with a chance? You take it, because it just might be the start of something incredible. Here's your chance. And it's interesting because it looks like the whole page is golden. So it looks like the more chances this little person took, the more chances were available, right? Yeah. Have you ever, I want to know if you have ever taken a chance. And if you had, was it difficult? And what happened? Maybe we can talk about that I decided to call this a rainbow room, because Christina painted this beautiful watercolor rainbow, and I thought, aha, I was trying to find a name for it because the lifespan learning room sounded a little bit dry and kind of passé. So I thought, no, this is going to be our rainbow room. Thank you. Do you want to bring the cushions?
So we have another part of the service that we like to do called Question to the Community. This is when we ask the people in the sanctuary about a question that connects with the theme. And the question is, think of a time you have experienced transformation in your life. What helped make change possible for you? So if you want to just put up your hands if you have a contribution, and I'll come over and bring it to you.
I would say the most transformation I've ever experienced was through motherhood, having two children who take all of everything out of you, and you have to just keep giving and giving, and in so doing, you learn that you are not the center of the universe anymore.
For a long time, when I was younger, I had self-esteem issues, I think, and all of the positive reflections that I experienced in my relationships in this congregation transformed me, and I understood that I was that person as I was shown.
As a nurse who often works with patients with cancer, when I had cancer, it was quite a shock, and it took me about 6 months to accept it. But what was most transforming was I'm not my cancer. I'm a well woman, and I identified with everything in my body that was well, and cancer took a very small part in my life, and so I didn't need to talk about it, and it was very empowering.
So in one of the most difficult times of my life, when I was leaving a job I didn't want to leave, I found that the biggest help for that transformation was my husband and the support of him and the congregation, and just saying, you're okay, you're a good person.
I'm pretty open about my sobriety, and for me, the transformation of moving from daily sickening drinking to not, and to recovery, wasn't what helped me, yet it was who helped me. And the who helped me were the people who had walked that path in front of me and before me. And because they were doing it, I began to understand and know that I could, and I still can.
I'm just going to check to see if anybody has contributed on Zoom. Nothing on Zoom? Okay. Chris, and then, yeah.
When I had to switch career because the industry I was in was no longer viable, I realized that I wasn't defined by what I did, and nothing can define who I am. And that's something I want to take into retirement.
Do we have one in here? Yeah, okay. Whoops.
I guess time of transformation for me was after being married for 20 years, suddenly my husband loved someone else, and I just want to say how grateful I was to my UU congregation that really gave me the comfort and support that I needed and my children needed at the time. So it was very transformative.
I think we'll stop it there. Thank you all for your contributions. So now's the time for meditation or prayer, and I invite Reverend Victoria to lead that now.
Thank you. That's a great sound for meditation. Breathe in and breathe out, and find a comfortable place for your body and your mind and your soul for a few moments. Sit and rest for a minute. Take several good deep breaths in and out, and call your attention to being yourself in this space. Attention, pay attention. Pay attention to where you are right now. I mean, where you are, where you are. You are here in this community, in this sanctuary, in this province, in this country, on this beautiful blue planet. A beautiful blue planet whirling through the tailspin of a galaxy. You are unique. You are made of cells and hormones. You are a mix of thoughts and emotions and values, all arrayed in a new arrangement just for you. You are the inheritor of your parents' and ancestors' dreaming. You are part of the human inhabitants of this earth. You are, you exist. Right now, you are breathing and you are still. You are connected and you are present. You have a holy spark inside you. You are here now. You are paying attention. You are blessed. Be blessed and be a blessing to others. And just keep breathing for a couple of seconds.
And one more deep breath as you prepare to open your eyes. When I found out this month's worship theme was Explorer, Mentor, Sage, I had a moment of brain fog, which seems to happen a lot more as I'm getting a little older. And I thought, you know, how am I going to talk about that? And the word that tied it together for me was transformation. Those times when a complete and dramatic change takes place, the examples that you were giving and sharing with one another. It happens as a result of a change. Sometimes it's a choice, and sometimes it is not. It's usually an extreme and radical change that causes a metamorphosis in our lives in the form and the function of that which it impacts. So my way became clear as I thought more about that. You know, when the student is ready, they say the teacher will appear. And so what was on Netflix but a movie called Rustin? I don't know if any of you have had a chance to see it. If you have, mazel tov. If you haven't, go see it. Watch Netflix, look for it. Rustin is a movie about a Black U.S. civil rights leader named Bayard Rustin. The lead actor, for your information, is Coleman Domingo. He was a Best Actor Oscar nominee. He didn't win, but he did a darn fine job on this film. It's really good. It's not always an easy film to watch, but it is a really good one. So as I watched Rustin, I began to realize that he represents a model case for a person who has made transformation after transformation in his life. And so I'm going to use that film and what I learned there and what I've learned from my reading about Mr. Rustin to talk about the aspects and things that are included in that transformation process. Transformation may happen planfully or it may be spontaneous. It can take great effort or it can seem to happen instantaneously. The process of transformation in our lives is often aided by things that are sort of serendipitous. They just show up, getting a chance, as we heard in this morning's story, but also furthered by seeking out mentors and helpers, facilitators and others who share with us their enthusiasm, their support, their vision, and their encouragement. We all could use a good cheerleader now and then. Now, some transformations I heard this morning described are sort of quick. Others take a lifetime. But all are characterized by responding to some call of vision or desire, a willingness to dedicate yourself to the value and truth of your goals, and a determination that will weather the storms and setbacks and keep you trying again and again. So why is Bayard Rustin such an amazing model of transformation, of moving into those roles of mentor and prophet, sage? First, he heard a call and he answered it. All of us have dreams and desires and ways we would like to be or feel that we are called to be. And this is not just for the young, it is happening to all of us as we yearn and learn and grow at any age of our lives. He felt a passion and he said yes to creating and embracing the opportunities before him. Like our story this morning, he tried for a number of chances, but finally got the one that was his, and he took it. This film is a story of a man and a country, a people and society experiencing the events of history on the bumpy road to transformation. Mr. Rustin was active in advocating for civil rights and equity from the 1930s until his death in 1987.
And if you think back, some of you can remember some of those years, some of you have only read about them. I know. But you will remember, or you will have read, that those were years of very dramatic confrontation and activism for improvements in employment and voting and other human rights, especially for the Black community in the United States. Many of us are familiar with the names of the men and women who championed civil rights, people like Ella Baker and Dr. Martin Luther King, Senator John Lewis, Medgar Evers, Rosa Parks. Mr. Rustin was actively involved, and yet his name is less well known to many of us. And that is the essence of the story in Rustin. Born in Pennsylvania in 1912, he was raised in a large family by his well-to-do Quaker grandparents. He knew from a very early age that he was gay, and if you will remember those times and those years, that was illegal in the United States and much of the world. Continues to be that way for some. He decided to train for his first chance, and that was to be a teacher, but he found himself caught up in activism after attending an American Friends Service Committee training program. From there, in 1937, he moved to Harlem, and his political, religious, social, and personal sensibilities led him to protest war, to advocate for civil rights, and rights for Black, gay, and other marginalized people, and to battle segregation. Now, secondly, he consistently practiced what he preached. And that isn't always easy to do. Mr. Rustin was considered difficult by some of his colleagues because his strength of conviction sometimes put him in a place where he felt like he had to stand even when others disagreed with him and urged him to change. He refused to compromise his values, and he was willing to pay the price when that was asked of him. Throughout his involvement in a variety of Black-led organizations, including the NAACP, the Congress of Racial Equality, and the Fellowship of Reconciliation, Mr. Rustin spoke and advocated. He took action, he planned, he got arrested, he went to prison, and he got beaten several times. He traveled to Africa and India, where he embraced nonviolent pacifist resistance in Gandhi's model. Now, you might have already figured out that one of the reasons that his name is not well known and why he was sometimes out of the limelight for his role in the civil rights movement was because of his homosexuality, which he refused to deny or hide. And I know that was a huge challenge for many of his brothers and sisters in the fight, and it certainly impacted his ability to be seen as a spokesperson for the movement. From those around him, there was great concern about the impact of his being perceived in the 50s and 60s and 70s as a pervert. Third, Mr. Rustin surrounded himself with people who would tell him the truth, and he had a support network that helped bolster his belief in himself. There were many moments when he was discouraged and disappointed, and in those moments he sought out people he knew would encourage him to try again, to get him to think about things in a different way, to try it from another tack that he could do out of his values, but might be a little softer or might be a way in. His brilliance as an organizer, his passion as an activist, his ability to inspire action, and his commitment to the cause were never in doubt. He put in the hours. He talked to as many people as he could. He used his influence. He was blocked and frustrated many times. His network of colleagues and friends helped him get up and try again. And he developed mentoring relationships with colleagues that helped move the civil rights movement forward when times were hard and the outcomes sometimes seemed bleak.
And one of those was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. For him, Bayard Rustin became a trusted advisor, and he encouraged him to embrace nonviolent civil disobedience and action as a way forward. One of the biggest places that Mr. Rustin had a huge impact was a bit behind the scenes, but definitely a prominent organizer and an advocate for the 1963 March on Washington. Over 250,000 people, mostly Black men and women who traveled from all over the country, attended this event on the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. They wanted to show their solidarity and their support for equal rights. And as a result, certainly part of the picture, it's interesting to note that the Civil Rights Act was passed in the United States in 1964. Fourth characteristic that I think is a part of this pattern is he never stopped being curious. He was open to growing and learning. He was willing to ask questions. He was willing to take risks. He was willing to try to do it again. And as we've seen in so many of the world's amazing people, an open heart and an open mind are unstoppable. And he also learned what I consider the fine art of fake it till you make it. And I'm sure some of you are familiar with that language. Sometimes you just have to face the fear and do it anyway, like the child in that story we read this morning. Sometimes you have to act as if you are brave, that you know what you're doing, and that you have it under control, when a part of you in your heart is saying, I don't know what the heck is going on here. Like the child in today's stories, Rustin knew that he didn't have to be brave all the time. He just had to be brave for a little while at the right time. And truly, sometimes when he was advocating and trying to influence and he was talking to people, he knew he didn't have it all together, but he acted as if until he did. Mr. Rustin experienced his own transformations in life. From a small town young man to an internationally traveled and respected activist and community leader. From a gay man who was arrested and charged as a sex offender, serving time in jail for his homosexuality, to an advocate for gay rights. A person that time and time again risked his own comfort and security and safety to be an advocate, a spokesperson, a voice, a leader, a dreamer. He truly did become an explorer, a mentor, and a sage. And I'm going to close this morning with a couple of my favorite quotes from Mr. Rustin. What is needed is the realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and that love without power is sentimental and anemic. The measure of a great society is how it treats its most vulnerable members. I hope that you are blessed with continuing growth, learning, and transformation in your own life. Blessed be.
Now is the time for our offertory. The congregation is a vibrant, growing place. We have the volunteer efforts of many talented people, but our rent is not being covered by our investments, and the salaries of our few employees are not covered either. Sharing of ourselves is part of every faith, and your contributions, whether in the basket or electronic or pre-authorized payments, are essential. The greeters will pass the baskets for those who choose to make contributions today. If you are online, please use the link displayed on the screen, which leads you to our donations page on our website. We'll now let the choirs sing.
us how to love. Show us how to love. Show us how. Show us how to love.
If you have known love and acceptance here, if you've found home here, if you have known kindred spirits here, let this offering be a token of gratitude for our common life as we build the common good.
I invite you to raise your energy, to sing with us, We Shall Be Known. This is a song we've sung quite a bit here, but it may be new to you. We're going to sing it through 3 times. So if you don't catch it the first time, maybe the second, maybe the third. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in
I'd like to invite Abigail up to extinguish our chalice. We have a tradition of forming a circle and holding hands to end our service, and I invite you to do that now. You can take your neighbor's hand or touch their shoulder or touch elbows, whatever you feel comfortable, connecting physically as we have spiritually. And now I ask Reverend Victoria to give our final blessing.
Thank you. These words are adapted from Richard Wagamese. Familiar some of you are, I'm sure, his book Embers. We're all storytellers, really. That's what we do. Use the act of breathing to shape air into sounds that take on the context of language that lifts and transports those who hears it, takes them beyond what they think and know and feel, and empowers them to think and feel and know even more. Not to tell people how to think and feel, and therefore know, but through our stories allow them to discover questions within themselves, talk to each other, share stories, be joined, transported, and transformed. May you be blessed and have a wonderful week ahead.